Great. Okay, so our plan for today, and this is our second Green Westbourne network meeting. We had our first one in May, which is brilliant. What we're going to be covering is I'm going to do a little bit of recap of where we've got to with the Green Westbourne project so far. We're going to be looking at the draft Green Westbourne project plan, which is hot off the press. We've been working on it over the summer with the leadership group, and we just got some final kind of questions to ask you guys before it's finalised. We're lucky enough to have a couple of speakers along today. So we've got two 5-minute speakers. So Ben Bishop from Cody and Alzein from Bees and Refugees. And then if we've got time, I might play you a little bit of a TED talk by Pam Warhurst from Incredible Edible Todmorden. And then the last section of the meeting, we're going to be thinking about, we've got our project plan, but how do we put this into action? So what projects should we focus on first? So should be really exciting part of the session. We're going to be talking about what project ideas we find most exciting, what we think are kind of some quick wins that we should focus on first, and what we kind of each of us might be interested in getting a bit more involved in. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be finishing at 2:15, if not before. I know some people have to pop off a bit early, but yeah, hopefully lots of you are able to stay until the end. So a little bit of a recap on Green Westbourne so far. Green Westbourne is 3 things. So the first is a shared vision for the future of Westbourne, hopefully shared by all of us here. And we've been working on the project plan as to put together that vision and what we want to achieve through the project. The second thing is it's a network. Here we are a network of residents and organisations and businesses all working together to achieve that vision to make Westbourne greener, healthier and better for nature. And then the third thing, building on all of that, is it's going to be a series of projects and initiatives. So from tiny projects to hopefully much bigger projects, and that could cover landscaping, wilding and greening works. It already is covering food growing, and maybe some permaculture, volunteering opportunities, training opportunities, more opportunities to be active outdoors, things to help people connection with nature, working with schools and youth projects, and green enterprise and employment schemes. So hopefully we're going to have a whole a whole series of projects working towards achieving our vision. In May, we had our first Green Westbourne meeting where we introduced the idea of Green Westbourne, and we had we started to think together a little bit about what we would like Westbourne to be like in 5 years' time. And the word cloud on the right is kind of some of the thoughts that the people who attended that meeting had about what we kind of want to achieve. We formed a leadership group, which is a smaller group of people who kind of were interested in Green Westbourne to help create the Green Westbourne project plan. And that leadership group is made up of 50% local residents. And since that meeting, the leadership group has been working hard on the project plan, but there's also been a lot of other exciting green things happening too in Westbourne, which I'm just going to go through really quickly. We've got the Power of Planting community garden, which we've been working on in partnership with Hammersmith Community Gardens Association with ward budget funding. And so we started that in April with the community champions, and loads of residents have got involved, literally got stuck in to clear kind of some kind of quite neglected allotment plots, and to create a garden for the whole community. And you can see the amazing progress they've made there. Nearly got a greenhouse up, and they're busy harvesting away at the moment all of the kind of literally fruits or vegetables of their labours. So yeah, so that's one thing that's been happening. If you want to join the garden, then we're there every Wednesday morning. We've had Tom and Sylvia from the Natural History Museum along to do some wildlife surveys in Westbourne, and they've given us the tools so that we can repeat those ourselves. So we've been surveying pigeons, very important, but also dragonflies and pollinators and lots of slugs. We've had a donation of some new trees from the Portman Estate, which has gone outside the cafe at Grand Junction. I don't know if anybody's seen those, so they're looking lovely. Sadia from Westbourne Forum has been working with Westminster Council on some women's cycling classes, and we've had solar feasibility studies going on to look at putting solar panels on the roof of Westminster Academy and the Stowe Centre. And we've also had some green trips to help local residents get some inspiration. So Hammersmith Community Gardens Association took lots of residents fruit and veg picking and to College Lakes, which was a really lovely day out, lots of riding in wheelbarrows, as you can see. Sadia from Westbourne Forum took a group of residents to Isabella Gardens. And we also were lucky enough to have a tour of the Square Mile Farms rooftop hydroponics farm in Paddington Basin, and everybody got some plants to take home, which is really good. And kind of beyond that, there's just been loads of really lovely examples over the summer of lots of different organisations, lots of people here using our green spaces around Westbourne to run their activities. So the amazing Westbourne Festival, and we had a Green Westbourne stall at the Green Westbourne Festival. Westbourne Park Family Centre had the session as part of their summer club out on Westbourne Green. And the Amberley have been using the Amberley estate for their parkour lessons. We've had maternity champions doing parent and baby drop-ins in the park. Happy Lizzie's been bubbling and legoing all over Brindley Estate and also in the Warwick Estate, and the Grand Junction had an outdoor early years performance out on the grass there, all of which just gets you thinking about how we can use these spaces more and differently. So that's what's been going on with the Green Westbourne project. So apart from that, we've been working with the leadership group on the Green Westbourne project plan. So the draft plan has been created through lots and lots of conversations over the last 6 months, a survey of people who attended the Westbourne Festival, and we bribed them with a prize draw with a free plant, which seemed to work quite well. We also had some wireless headphones, but it seemed to be the plant that did it. So there we go. And most importantly, the work of the leadership group over the last 4 months. And today we're going to hopefully put some finishing touches to our plan. So here is what we have so far. We have an overarching aim for the project. So that's one sentence that sums up what the project is trying to do. And this has been now agreed by the leadership group. So this is Green Westbourne will improve our lives by making the area greener, healthier and better for nature and improving the access to green economy and jobs. So that is our overarching aim of the Green Westbourne project. We've got some core principles. Ooh. So the core principles is just a way of saying this is what we want the project to be like. So whether it's a small project or a big project as part of Green Westbourne, we know this is what we want it to be like. So we want it to be led by the local community for everyone in Westbourne. We want it to take a flexible and open approach to what engagement with nature looks like. We want it to celebrate and reflect Westbourne's diversity, to build and strengthen relationships in Westbourne and with wider communities, to be designed to last, so to include plans for next steps and ongoing maintenance, and raise awareness and action around the climate emergency. So these core principles have been agreed by the leadership group, but we have a late entry into the core principles. So we have a potential new contender, which I wanted to ask your opinion about today. So one member of the leadership group has suggested this additional core principle, which would take us to 7. So which would be Green Westbourne will create big changes through small actions. And that's to represent the way that we want the project to work, which is that it's not just about one person or one project doing something, but it's about all of us coming together and doing what we can to help make Westbourne greener, even if that's just something small. And that through all of those small actions, we make some big changes.
Myself, which is a floodlight spotlight analogy. So the spotlight being.
So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And then finally, we have our project outcomes. So our last meeting of the leadership group, we came up with a huge list. I think it went over 4. When I typed it up, it went over 4 sheets of A4 paper of what we wanted Westbourne to look like as a result of this project. So what I've done is taken that and I've kind of put it into these project outcomes. And so separated it into 3 kind of main outcomes. So greener place, which is all about making changes to the actual physical world around us. Greener lives, which is kind of looking at the role that outdoor spaces, green spaces and nature plays in our day-to-day lives. And greener opportunities, which is making more use of kind of green opportunities and green technologies to help us get to where we want to go.
It's raining.
What I'm going to be asking you today is to have a look at those project outcomes and see whether you think that they're any good. So what I'm going to be asking you now, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. I'm going to split you into some breakout rooms and I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. So the first one is, are you happy with the additional core principle, Green Westbourne will create big changes through small actions? The second one is, are you happy with the outcomes? Does it include what you're excited about the Green Westbourne project? And then the final one is, do you think that together the aim, core principles and outcomes are enough to give people an overview of the project and get them excited about it? So do you think that is enough of a project plan? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes in your breakout rooms to talk about that, and the breakout room hosts will take notes. Hopefully they know who they are. Super. Okay, does anybody have any questions before we go into breakout rooms? That makes sense. No. Super. Okay, that's wonderful. So thank you so much for your input on that, and I'll kind of collect the input from the hosts after the session. Now it is time for some speakers. So these networking meetings, obviously you guys are all very inspirational people and you've got amazing ideas, and part of the purpose of these sessions is to get us all together, to give us an opportunity to share those ideas and get excited by each other. But also it's an opportunity to hear from people who from outside Westbourne and things that are going on elsewhere. And so we've got 2 5-minute talks. The first one is from Ben Bishop from Cody Dock. Cody Dock is a thriving creative and community hub on the River Lee in Newham in East London. And Ben is the Citizen Science and Environmental Manager there. So he's going to be talking first. And then after him, we've got Alzein from Refugees, which is an environmental conservation organisation that's working to introduce beekeeping as craft and therapy to refugee and local communities in London. We probably won't have time for the incredible edible TED talk, so I'll save that for a future meeting. I'll send the link down to you for you to watch in your own time. Before I hand over to Ben, if everybody could make sure that they're on mute for this part, that would be wonderful, including myself. And so Ben, hopefully I should have made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. I'll hand over to you. So you've got 5 minutes. So and I'll kind of let you know when you've got a minute left, if that's all right. So great.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here and hear about your. I did listen to some of your breakout room conversations, which is nice to hear those sorts of discussion going on. Lizzie introduced me. I've been here for 4 years now, and yeah, it's a very interesting place to be, so I'll tell you about it. So Originally, Cody Dock was actually part of the Imperial Gas Works in East London, so a very large-scale industry that cropped up in the late Victorian era, 1871. It was built, and these are just some images of the people that were working during the Second World War, First World War. I would say Second World War. So yeah, just to give you an idea of the sorts of things they were doing, and also like how the social change of the area, which Newham and East London, before it was Newham, in this part of London, was a real catalyst for social change. There's lots of things going on. Unfortunately, these industries were really big community hubs of the time, as well as being very polluting. But as they closed down, spaces like Cody Dock became disused and derelict and left behind. East London was forgotten. So Cody Dock itself closed in the 1970s, so almost 50 years ago now. And yeah, it was basically left behind to be abused, and essentially what was found when we got here in the sort of late 2000s was a massive site that had been industrially fly tipped illegally over a number of years. So you should be able to see the some pictures of the site now, things like big skips of tires, industrial waste of all types. And yeah, it was basically forgotten. So just to give you a picture of where Cody Dock is, it's actually east of the River Lee, which is London's second river, a really important route into London throughout history. And it basically was once so that's where it is. It was once sort of along the river. It was once marshland all the way up to Stratford. Obviously it got drained and was used for agriculture, and then drained for industry because London was growing east even then. And to give you a closer picture, this is where we are. So you can see that's our little dock there where it says the River Lee. And this route, we've gone past this route that you can see the green pathway, that was closed off to all of the communities sort of the other side of these tracks for a generation. So nobody knew that the river was here. No one had access. All of the people that would have worked here once obviously had long passed on, and the river was forgotten essentially. So what we did is when we discovered that there was a space that could be transformed, the first thing we thought about was, well, what benefit would it have for the community? And Newham itself is one of the boroughs that people tend to avoid. It's a place where there's a high turnover of residents, so people don't live here for very long, and it was one of the poorer boroughs of London. So we wanted to find out why that was, and it seemed that there was a lot going on here. People didn't really want to stay here or invest time or energy here. So this was before the Olympics and before developing in these parts of London were very sort of lucrative. So we managed to secure the site after we found out it was owned by Thames Water for a peppercorn rate, with the agreement that we would transform the site into a community space that would have things going on for people to get involved with, that would allow people to be part of the regenerative change that the area was going to undergo in the coming years. So we managed to start with small things like community garden spaces, eventually opening up a cafe that is still open today, but will also again be transforming as the area grows. People from the local area, the first thing that we did to get them here was actually offer them a free show. So our dock, which you saw at the start, was sort of only had like a foot of water in it, so it was really accessible. So we put on an opera and gave all the local residents free tickets, so they came and stood around the edge of the dock and watched a show for free. So they, you know, it was the first way of getting people here and showing them there was something to do and somewhere to be part of and transform with us. We then grew and got more funding through the sort of working with the community and actually speaking to them about what did this area need. Community gardens were, you know, a really big ticket and still are now, and we did a few different types of volunteering where we'd encourage people to do RHS qualifications and grow food for themselves and things like that. And it just grew, and we ended up getting some funding to build a pocket park, which is what you're looking at now, which is our sensory garden. It's really small, but it's really engaging and inviting. It was actually featured on the Chelsea Flower Show the other day as well. So if anyone was watching that, it was the designers that came down to Cody Dock. Yeah, so yeah, really cool space, and it was built by volunteers. So everything we've done to date, and we will continue to do, is involved with the local community, involving volunteers and giving them opportunities to upskill and be part of the change in the area. We managed to, because we're a registered charity since 2011, we obviously had to think about ways that we would eventually become sustainable. We were gifted for a very good price a community boat to allow us access to the river, which we restored because it was really, really old and hadn't been looked after, and eventually managed to put back into the river. Which is now a place for people to meet and gather, to have like outdoor lessons, engage with the water. Yeah, so it's been a really nice place for people to come, and giving them spaces to come and visit was really the way in which we've managed to continue our engagement with the local community, but things that they want to do as well. So knowing what they would like to get out of their local area is really important as well. So yeah, just wanted to go through some of the groups that we fostered. So we've got a really amazing group of gardeners that are volunteers, and they come and they learn about how to grow, and that's been a volunteer opportunity we've really sort of pushed from the start, encouraging people to come and learn about growing food. And it's all about just, you know, planting what you want and watching it grow and being able to sort of harvest the rewards. We also take a lot of school groups and teach them about the river that they are so close to that they don't know about. And we like to sort of engage them with working with like sort of nature walks and engaging them with the local wildlife in such an urban area, because the River Lee is a really important green-blue corridor into the Lee Valley Park and Epping Forest. So it has some really interesting wildlife, which with my volunteers we're slowly recording and monitoring over time. We have lots of youth groups visit us as well and get them to be part of the conservation action, and also part of improving the spaces by making things that showcase what we're doing as well. So this was a group from the Shipman Youth Zone. We also, because we're still in an industrial area, so people live close but they don't live, you know, right on the doorstep of Cody Dock, we still have a lot of problems with industrial fly tipping, and we do regular community cleanups, which a lot of people turn up to. Like, you just have to sort of send out one email and you've got 50 people wanting to come and get, you know, improve the local green spaces. We've also started, with the help of the Woodland Trust, planting more trees in our urban green verges to encourage more wildlife and show that we care about them and they're not just places to dump your unwanted rubbish. We have also... That's
pretty much time, Ben, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
If you want to finish off, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, we've got people in the river. We've been doing loads of survey work to record all different wildlife. Here's some of the amazing wildlife we've recorded, and we've even won an award earlier this year for our action against climate change. And this is the last slide. This is just the visions for the future. We've got a massive community centre that's going to be built in the coming year, which will be for everyone to use as they please in different ways, and a venue space for people to come and join and meet. And that's everything.
Amazing, thanks so much, Ben. That's brilliant. Sorry to
no, it's okay.
We'll be going into breakout rooms. We have kind of 5 minutes to ask kind of either one of the speakers any questions that you've got after this, and hopefully Ben has offered us a little tour of Cody Dock. So we're hoping to put that together in October, so we'll send you more details of that when we have the date. Great, lovely. Thank you so much, Ben. Right, I shall hand over to our second speaker, who is Ali from Bees and Refugees. Can you hear you there, Ali? You might need to stop sharing your screen, Ben.
Hi, everyone. Thank
Hi,
you.
Ali.
Thank you, Lizzie. It's very kind of you to invite me to talk here today. It's a pleasure to talk to all of you. And I just want to say, Ben, this is an impressive project you're working on. It's a really great project, and it's really I was really excited to hear about it. I haven't heard of this project before, and yeah, great project. And I think the only way for me to give an impressive presentation is if I also show you the bees afterwards. So I'll try to speak a little bit, and then I'll take the laptop and I'll show you the beehive and show you how excited the bees are today. They're bringing so much pollen back to the hive. So my name is Ali. I arrived to the UK in 2014 as a refugee from Syria. For the first 4 or I think 5 years, I was working in the fashion industry, but then I wasn't really happy in that sector, and I was seeking a new way where I can do something that's beneficial to the community and to anyone who is struggling with mental health in London. So I started the project Bees and Refugees in the purpose of using beekeeping as therapy to refugees and asylum seekers. And we started this project by crowdfunding in I think 2 months before the first lockdown. So we started at the very beginning of COVID, and we realized during the first lockdown that many people could benefit from an outdoor activity with nature and with an amazing insect like the honeybee, for example. So we started offering beekeeping workshops in the community gardens and schools, and even in this garden where I'm sitting right now, where the whole project started. So thanks to the community, we crowdfunded I think £24,000 that allowed us to purchase the bees and the beehives and place them in community gardens across London. So since then, we've been just inviting groups to come to the community garden and spend time in nature, learn about the bees, and witness for themselves the therapeutic element of being around these buzzing, amazing insects. I don't know if Lizzie, are you able to also see me if I take the laptop and go to the
yeah, I think you should be able to. Yeah, but I might put a spotlight on you so that everybody can see you. Is that good for everybody? Hopefully you'll be able to see Ali a bit.
Yeah. So basically, we started this whole project because we realized that refugees, especially newly arriving refugees to London, usually the first thing they struggle with is learning the language and connecting with the local community where they live. And we found out that through beekeeping and through teaching them beekeeping, they have a safe space to feel comfortable and then share stories and learn from each other, and especially learn from the bees and the way they live. I know today we don't have much time. I was really hoping to teach you some interesting facts about how bees work and how bees support each other and work together, which is very inspiring way of and like it's a great lesson for us to learn from the bees. We're hoping to crowdfund probably next year to establish our community farm, hopefully within reach to London, so we can invite the groups to the community farm and use it as a base to build our own hives and raise our own queens, and then hopefully from that base we can take our project to refugee camps where we know that there are many people that they've been stuck in refugee camps for years, and an outdoor activity like this, or like teaching them something new like this, could really help them alleviate any sort of stress or PTSD or anxiety that they're going through. Now, my next bit was to tell you a little bit about the honeybees. So I'm gonna take the laptop and show you what do we have here. And Lizzie, please tell me when I go over the time limit.
You've got about 3 more minutes, so perfect time for some honeybees, I think.
Okay, so this beehive you're looking at here, this is called a top bar hive. It's basically mimics a honeybee colony in nature. When this hive here, this is called a national hive, and I hope you'll be able to see how excited these bees are. They're bringing so much pollen back to their hive, and I also see that there is a wasp trying to hunt a couple of bees here. So the therapy with working with honeybees probably comes from the fact that they are so unique, and like being around them within your protective suit would allow you to disconnect completely from any stress or trauma that you had, because you're looking at something so fascinating. And especially when you open the hive and you have thousands of bees just flying around you, and you hear their buzz, and you kind of get used to the buzz, and it becomes like a melody, like a hum that is so calming, and that is exactly why we love working with the bees. And I think that having bees in the community garden, in a community space, is really helpful, not only to people.
Oh, we've lost you there, Ali, just then. I think we might have lost the connection. Oh. Ali, we've lost you. We can't hear you anymore. Okay, I think we might have to leave that there, which is a real pity. Oh, Ali, we got you back a little bit. We lost you towards the end there. I think we lost the reception a little bit.
That honeybees are like the perfect. Well, I don't know. So what was the last thing you heard?
Talking about how important it is to have honeybees in a community garden.
Oh, so you haven't seen the beehive at all?
We did see the beehive. Yes, we did see the beehive. Yeah, it was just for the last couple of minutes. So I think you're all right. Yeah. Yes, thank you. We are out of time now, but thank you so much. That was actually like incredibly relaxing. Just like with the noises and hearing the bees. And I also had a very nice bird in the background as well, which is I do feel like much more relaxed. You brought nature into our meeting, which is fantastic. So I want people to have an opportunity to ask questions of Ali or Ben. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up breakout rooms, and you're going to have a choice of 2 breakout rooms. And so whoever you'd like to go and ask a question to, then you can choose that breakout room, and then we'll be coming back into the main room in kind of just under 10 minutes. So thank you so much, Ali. That was really lovely. Thank you. So hopefully everybody should now have an option of joining a breakout room. Okay, thank you everybody. Sorry to tear you away from our fantastic speakers. I know you could spend probably a whole day with both of them learning all about their projects. I think everybody should be back now. A big thank you to Ben and Ali for speaking today, and I will be sharing their contact. They have said they're happy for me to share their contact details, so I'll be sharing their contact details as well in a follow-up email. If you've got any further questions to ask them, then you can do. Wonderful. Okay, thanks so much. So we're just moving on to the last bit of our session today, and that is looking at our Green Westbourne project ideas. Together over the mute ourselves then. That would be great. So together came up with over 75 ideas of how we can make Westbourne greener, healthier and better for nature. So huge list of project ideas, which is amazing. And so today we're going to have a think about what we should focus on first. So things that we're going to consider. So it's good really to do some quick wins first to start with, to get some projects under our belt. And kind of build some confidence. It's also good to wait. Steve just mentioned it there, but there's a bit of work going on along the canal side in Westbourne from the Good Growth Fund, where they're looking at improving the green space along there. So it doesn't make sense for us to kind of move forward with some things until we know what's coming out of that. And it would be great at this point to get as many more people involved with the project as possible and spread the message about Green Westbourne. So there are some of the 75 ideas that we definitely want to do. So we want to continue the power planting community garden, which has got off to such a brilliant start, and I know quite a few of you here put a lot of work into that, so that's something we definitely want to look at kind of continuing the funding for. We'd like to start regular wildlife surveys, so using the skills that the Natural History Museum have taught us, and so that also enables us to measure the impact of any changes we make on local wildlife. We want to find funding for a Green Westbourne project manager, so that who can kind of support any of you with any project ideas that you have, and really kind of build the momentum for the project, and work with you to put ideas into action. So those are things we definitely want to do. There's some longer term projects from the list that maybe aren't appropriate for right now in the stage that we're at. So they might need a bit more time, a bit more planning, a few more people involved. And so they're a little bit better to come back to once the project is running a little longer. I won't go through them all here, but a lot of them are around changing the kind of the built landscape around us, kind of creating new facilities, which needs a little bit more time. So I'll be sending the slides around so you can have a look at this list afterwards. I do have a little bit of feedback of intelligence for you guys to help you with your conversations. So at the Westbourne Festival, thanks so much to Elizabeth and Faragad and Sarah for your help at the Westbourne Festival, and you were asking people to vote for their favourite project ideas. So back in July, we took some of the key projects that people had suggested, and we asked people to vote for their favourite ones. And you can see them, the top 10 here, the ones that people's favourites. So outdoor children's play facilities came up as a big winner, outdoor spaces for young people. And then we've got things like tree planting, planting wildflowers, growing and cooking food, nature and wellbeing classes, outdoor film, music and performances, outdoor exercise classes, nature art, and a weekly children's nature club. So that will give you a little bit of a kind of snapshot of people attending the Westbourne Festival and what they would prioritise in terms of projects. So I've taken that list of 75. I've taken out the things we definitely want to do. I've taken out the list of longer term projects, which leaves around 30 project ideas. And so your task for kind of the rest of the session today is we're going to go into breakout rooms, which hopefully is going to be a bit smoother than it was last time. What I want you to do is to choose 5 projects in your breakout rooms that you think that as a Green Westbourne should focus on first. So these should be projects that you think are exciting and that other people will find exciting, things that are relatively quick and easy, something that engages as many people as we can, and ideally you'd have 5 projects that were across a range of areas, so not all food growing or not all kind of children's activities, but a little bit of variety. And then after that, I'm going to ask you to think about whether you as an individual or you as your organisation, if there's anything that you might be interested in being involved with. And it doesn't even matter if you don't know how, or you're like, oh, I don't know how much kind of time I can give. But even if you're like, yes, I'd like to be part of this in some way, then it would be great to know that. So I hope that makes sense. So I am now going to fiddle around with the breakout rooms.
Izzy, I have something at 2 o'clock, which I can be a little late on, but do you need me to feedback on our group?
Yeah, that'd be great. Just one point, Neil, would be wonderful. So one standout thing from your conversation would be great.
Well, our conversation went for our, we basically looked at quick wins as opposed to longer term. And we came up with 3, 4, 5, 14 and 2. There's a treasure hunt, home growing, litter picking, cooking, nature treasure hunt, and that's it, I think.
Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neil. Wonderful.
Do you want me to keep a
Super.
record of that, or how are we going to
Yes,
do
if you could just send me any notes from the conversations you had,
Right.
and thank you for stepping in at the last
Okay.
minute.
Sorry about this, everybody. Good to see you all.
Bye,
Thank you
Neil.
so much. Fantastic.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Wonderful. And Joe, I know that you has Joe.
I'm whacking it in the chat because I'm so sorry. I have a meeting.
No, that's fine. I know that you had
But
to
just
head off
really
as
quickly,
well.
we had quite a lot because we just had lots of great ideas. So the youth festival on climate change, the multi-generational gardening project, working with older people and younger people, walking routes, cooking projects, sort of like a clothes swap or like a sort of jumble sale where you didn't need to have any money, and the allotment for young people, supporting people to grow food on their balconies and windowsills, and some sort of community day where it's not just a litter picking, but it ends with like a bit of a party, barbecue, picnic, but people are kind of making an area look great. And then we have a celebration at the end.
Great, lovely. Thank you so
I'm
much.
so sorry I've got to run. But
No, that's fine. Super, thank you. And Lucy, did you want to just give a little bit of feedback from your group?
Yes, so we talked about various ones, but then we did actually get down to 5 that we felt were the ones that should happen most urgently or could happen straight away. So, and they were 14 projects to support people to grow food in their gardens, balconies, windowsills, 16 paddle boarding and kayaking we thought should be added, wildlife tours on the canal, 19 more trees, planters and hydroponics in the street, community space and schools, 30 is bug hotels and mud kitchens for children, and 31 beehives. So those were the ones that most people together collectively we thought were most important.
Okay.
And I think the paddleboarding one kind of connected to the conversation we had about things that maybe get people who don't think they're interested in this project interested just in coming into their outdoor spaces as a first step, because a lot of the things on the list are for people who already kind of think this is a good idea. But what about the people who don't think they want to go and plant anything at the moment, just to get them interested? So thinking about some of those kind of projects too.
Great. Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much. Super. And then the final group was Simon.
Sorry. Yeah, we kind of went through a load of them, but we arrived at 5 as well. And I think there's a fair bit of consensus for some of the other groups. We had 4, the cooking project using homegrown veg. We had 14, the project to support people grow food in the gardens, balconies and windowsills. We had 25, the composting leaves and grass clippings. Big push on 26, the walking routes and trails to help people explore green spaces. And 31, Ali clearly worked his magic, beehives.
Oh, great. Thanks, Simon. That's wonderful. Okay, well, that's quite a wide range of ideas there. So, I'll just share my screen for a final time. just with next steps. So I keep on saying it, but this project, sort of, obviously these project ideas are important and the things that we're going to all work on together, but we are all part of Green Westbourne, so you know, you don't need anyone's permission to do a project under Green Westbourne. You can just do something. So if you've got an idea for how we can make Westbourne greener, healthier and better for nature, then go for it, and I'm here to support you if you need any support. So yeah, just keep thinking. Doesn't matter how big or how small. So I'm going to have a look through all of these priorities and see kind of where the crossover is, and if there's any kind of consensus about kind of what we should focus on first. We're going to be having a leadership group meeting towards the end of October to start planning some of the projects and think about the role of the leadership group going forwards, because we've mainly been working on the project plan so far. So if we are going to be looking at putting some projects into action, we'll be thinking about what is the role of the leadership group around that. And we're hopefully going to be submitting some funding applications, maybe for some of the projects that you've chosen. And then the next one of these meetings will be towards the end of January, where we'll hopefully have some more exciting speakers and be able to update you on how things have gone, and have some more exciting conversations together. There's one more slide, which is a couple of opportunities or dates for your diary. So Grand Junction are having a community day on Saturday the 6th of November. We're looking for somebody who's interested in running a green themed stall. So I know we've got a lot of green themed brains out there, so if anyone's interested in running anything on gardening or nature, or kind of doing some outdoor activities or whatever it is, then please do let me know, and that would be great. This Thursday, 30th of September, from 6:30 till 8:30 is the second meeting of Westminster Council's Westbourne Green Open Space Working Group. So this is the Good Growth Fund money that Westminster Council have got to make improvements along the canal sides. They've got some designs, I think, and ideas, and they want as many people to input on those as possible. And so if you want to join, there's an email address there, and I'll be sending these slides around afterwards. But yeah, if you can get along, then do. And finally, Westminster Council Climate Change team is looking for residents who would like to film a short video on big or small things they have done to reduce their carbon footprint. So that's part of a campaign to kind of encourage others to do similar things. So if you are interested, let me know and I can put you in touch with the person who's organising that. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. It is, we've got 8 minutes. You've got 8 bonus minutes in your day. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming along and all of your contributions. It's been really lovely to see you all here. And I feel really excited about what's going to happen next. And please do let me know what you're doing, even if it's anything green related, then it's really good.